This is Bishop Michael Burbidge, and you are listening to the Walk Humbly podcast.
Podcasting from Winchester, Virginia in the Diocese of Arlington. Welcome to the Walk Humbly podcast. I am Mary Broder, Digital Media Manager for the Diocese, and your co-host for today's podcast. We are recording on location at WorkCamp 2024, where close to 700 youth from our diocese are gathered for a week of faith and service to those in most need. This is a very full podcast, but before we go any deeper, I welcome your host, Bishop Burbidge. Bishop, good morning. How are you?
Mary, I'm doing well. Like you said, we're here in beautiful Winchester. I spent yesterday afternoon and last evening with so many of our wonderful young people from all around our diocese to see their joy and their zeal, working so hard and doing so much good for our other people. Beautiful evening last night of adoration and procession of the Eucharist and confessions, and then our young people enjoy their time together. And it's great to see hear the laughter and the joy all around them. And blessed to have Mass this morning, and we'll visit some of the work sites. And as you mentioned, I'm so glad that 5 of our young people are here today, who are actually will be the big part of today's broadcast. So I'm so grateful, and I know our listeners will be really happy to hear from them.
Yes, it's such a blessing. This is definitely one of my favorite weeks of the year to be here. But before we get into WorkCamp, I just want to ask you a little bit about some timely topics. Firstly, at the time of this recording, we are about halfway through Religious Freedom Week, which invites all Catholics to promote religious freedom through prayer, reflection, and action. In your homily at the annual Mass for Religious Liberty you celebrated earlier this week, you spoke of some of the champions of courageous witness to the faith, including our diocesan patron, St. Thomas More. So can you share some more about why this weekly observance is so important, especially for us to participate here in 2024?
Sure. The answer is because it's being threatened. The greatest liberty that we have is religious freedom, for which our forefathers made from the very beginning of the establishment of our great land, and from all beginning of time throughout history. That freedom to practice the faith that you believe and to uphold and live according to your virtues and morals has always been part of who we are. But throughout our world, we see that being threatened and attacked because people, brothers and sisters throughout our world, are literally being killed for staying true to what they believe. Here in our own country, maybe not martyrdom, but I hear from our young people, in fact, what it's like sometimes when they stand up for their faith, when they practice their faith. It comes in forms of maybe harassment or ridicule or rejection, instead of just being able to do so freely. And the serious consequences of it is our service in charitable works, in healthcare, in helping people in need, is being threatened also, that you won't be able to continue to do that unless you begin to violate what you believe. Well, we can never do that. We have to always be true to who we are and what we believe and never compromise. And so St. Thomas More is the perfect example. He's the patron of our diocese.
That's right.
And he said, no, I'm God's servant first. And does that mean martyrdom? So be it. And so some of us, if we're going to protect our greatest liberty, religious freedom, there may be suffering involved, but it's worth it. And people have died for religious freedom. And so we honor them by our willingness to promote it. And as you mentioned, through prayer, reflection, and action.
It's always a good reminder. We can lean on our diocesan patron, St. Thomas More. We can always be praying to him. Also this week, Bishop, we celebrate the anniversary of the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision, which overturned the previous ruling of Roe versus Wade. As chairman of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops Committee on Pro-Life Activities, you have spoken tirelessly on the right to life and on abortion being the preeminent civil rights issue of our time. In your statement marking the second anniversary, you affirm the power of Christ's real presence in the Eucharist as the source of our strength for serving the cause of life, and especially when navigating these difficult issues. So when it comes to defending life, what role does or will the ongoing National Eucharistic Revival taking place in our country, what role would that play in our efforts, both nationally and here in our diocese?
Yeah, and you mentioned that, you're right, the second anniversary of the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe versus Wade. And was a cause for celebration for so many years. You think of people who have prayed and witnessed for that very decision, marching it so peacefully in Washington for all those years. And so there was a moment of celebration with the Dobbs decision, but it was only a moment, because the Dobbs decision did not end legal abortion in our country. It just returned that decision to the states. And so what happened after that decision, it was the opposition became fierce and aggressive. And so our work after the Dobbs decision is just beginning. Mm-hmm. And so more than ever, that witnessing on behalf of human life, letting our voice be heard in the public arena, engaging our officials, our elected officials, both in our nation's capital and in our state capital, as we do so often, is more timely than ever. And again, to offer such witness when there is so much opposition, we need strength. And the Eucharist is the source of our strength. Mm-hmm. From everything we do as a parish, everything we do as a diocese, everything we do as individuals flows from the Eucharist. It's the source and summit of our lives, of our ministry. And it is the source of the strength that we have to stay steadfast and to stay strong. One of the things that we've learned in the post-Dobbs decision is that it's not enough for us just to transform laws. We also have to transform hearts. So I think many people know that as Catholics, we will always oppose the taking of innocent life from the moment of conception to natural death. But sometimes where I think we can transform hearts is when we make known in humility, not because we're patting ourselves on the back, but we who celebrate and respect life support life. We support mothers in need. We walk with moms. We walk with families that are wanting to welcome a child into life, but maybe in a difficult pregnancy, or maybe lacking financial means, or need counseling or assistance. And so we are there. We don't just say we respect life. We're saying we support life. So for example, our parishes and parishioners and Catholic Charities have provided over $1.8 million in rent and utility assistance to expectant mothers and their children. Over $200,000 this past year in prenatal care. Donated thousands of beds and cribs and car seats and diapers and baby formulas. Hosted dozens of baby showers and play groups. Many of our Catholic parishes support mothers in emotional and spiritually as well. And everyone has an opportunity to support, to contribute, to pray for, so that abortion mothers and fathers know abortion does not have to be a choice. We are here to welcome you, to help you to welcome, treasure, and embrace your child.
Yeah, some of those stats are pretty incredible, and I'm very encouraged by what we continue to see at work in our diocese, nourished by the Eucharist first and foremost. Thank you, Bishop. Well, there's so much more that we could cover, but I want to include some of the other voices we have here at the table. So I'd like to introduce and welcome Kevin Bohli, the Executive Director for Youth Campus and Young Adult Ministries in the Diocese, and leading the team, making this week possible here at WorkCamp. Kevin, welcome.
Great. Thank you, Mary. It's always great to have the podcast come out here. It's always great to have Bishop here. He comes and spends so much time here at WorkCamp and gets out to spend time with the young people. And it's just a beautiful witness that the church very much cares about young people and big events like this, like WorkCamp.
Yeah. Kevin, for those not familiar with WorkCamp, can you briefly describe what it is?
Sure, briefly. That's the trick. So WorkCamp is a week of service. We always do it within the Diocese of Arlington. It's designed for high schoolers. So everybody that's here right now it's all focused on high schoolers getting out and doing service. So we break them up into crews, and all throughout the day, they're going out and doing all kinds of home repairs, replacing roofs and pretty significant projects, building wheelchair ramps, and some serious work is happening out there at 120 different projects around the Winchester area this week. And then when they come back in the evening, they get to shower and eat. And then in the evening, we have a lot of fun here. We have some great messages and music and games and activities. And we try to help them to incorporate prayer and their relationship with Christ back into why they're actually here doing this work.
How many young people are here, and also adult volunteers? Because I imagine there's a whole host of them.
Well, yeah, so it's a small city we build here this week. So this year we have 670 young people, but then we have 200 contractors that come out and teach the young people how to do the projects and do the work. There's another 300 adult volunteers, either at home base or out on the sites, helping the young people to be safe and get to and from the sites. But then you also throw in the fact that every day we have 60 security come from the local parishes or from the parishes that are involved. So there's definitely 1,200 people here during the week, but if you count all the people coming and going from the parishes and back at home, creating the lunches, I mean, we're talking about thousands of people involved in WorkCamp each year.
Wow. And what's different this year? I mean, year over year, much of it is probably the same, but anything different this year?
Yeah, well, so what's the same is that we always focus on Acts 2:42 through 47. So the whole idea that this is the way the early church lived, and we just want to replicate that here. So we live together, we share all things in common, we eat the same food, we serve one another in our community. So that's always our focus, and that's why WorkCamp, I think, continues to grow and be popular. And so what's new this year is we're excited that this is a year of prayer, that Pope Francis has called this a year of prayer. So we wanted to add more prayer into what we're doing this year. So we've added, for example, evening prayer. So, part of the Liturgy of the Hours. And so each night at 6 p.m. in our chapel here, where we have the Blessed Sacrament always, the young people have been filling the chapel each night doing Liturgy of the Hours and evening prayer.
That's awesome.
So that's certainly one thing that we really wanted to focus on there, is placing more emphasis here on prayer.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of WorkCamp, that there's service involved, but that's powered by prayer. And we spoke about the Eucharist nourishing a lot of our work and our efforts.
So every day begins with Mass at 7 a.m.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it's wonderful. Well, Kevin, we're very grateful for your hard work and to make this week possible. So thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for being here. Yes, absolutely.
So maybe we can introduce some of our WorkCampers here. If we can just maybe go around, and you want to introduce yourself.
And say what parish you're from, maybe too.
Yeah.
My name is Adeline, or Addie. I'm from Christ Redeemer, and I go to Herndon High School. And this is my first year of WorkCamp.
My name is Jaden. I go to St. John Newman. I go to Oakton High School, and this is my second year of WorkCamp.
My name is Kira. I am here with St. Mary's in Alexandria, and I go to Bishop Ireton High School.
My name is Adam. I come from St. Joseph Parish in Herndon, Virginia. I go to Paul VI, and this is my third year of WorkCamp.
My name is Alex. This is my first year at WorkCamp. I'm here with St. Mary's of the Immaculate Conception, and I go to Cortland High School.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being here today on the podcast. Did you know each other before you arrived here? No. So you met each other the first time this week. Wow. Well, I'm happy to hear that we have some returning WorkCampers and Adam and Jaden, and we have some newcomers. So welcome. What made you really want to come out to WorkCamp this year and give a whole week of your summer to service?
I was trying to come last year, but I didn't end up signing up early enough. So me and my sister didn't go, and I kind of wish we would have, because this year my parents kind of told me about it, and then they got me talking to people who went, and I got more excited the more the year went by. And I'm very glad I did come. Definitely coming next year, because it's really fun, and there's amazing people here.
Anyone else? What do you think, Adam?
I'd say just being able to come out and with these high schoolers that I've known, because I'm with the people from my parish. I'm in the youth ministry with them all throughout the year, and just being able to continue that and come out here and serve, while also being able to spend so much time with them and with the Lord, and just growing in my faith with some of my best friends. It's just a wonderful experience every year.
But do you don't go to the work site with the group you arrived with? Do they mix everyone up?
Yeah, so every crew in WorkCamp, it's made up of people that are from different parishes that you've never met before. And so most of the time you spend with the people from your parish is back at home base, after dinner or during program.
Okay, when you reflect on what happened that day?
Yes, and there's small groups where we can reflect on the day and the talks during program and things of that nature.
That's great. Jaden, so of all the things you could be doing this week in the summer, you chose to come to WorkCamp. How come?
Last year it was a decision of my mom. She wanted me to go to WorkCamp. She like kind of forced me to, and I wasn't super excited because I remember my sister not really liking it that much. But then I came, and I wasn't excited because like I heard showers would be cold or something, and I wouldn't have my phone or anything. But then I actually enjoyed myself because there were like so many activities to do. There was no need for a phone, and it was kind of just, and it grew me closer to God. So I really liked it, and I decided to come back this year. And I'm not even sure if I was forced because I didn't really care if I was forced. I would have came anyway.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. So, Kira, there's no phones here?
Yeah, there's no phones, which I mean, I think that's a good thing because it's good to be like more focused on the people around you and what you're doing and not being online as much as you would be with your phone.
Was that a hard adjustment at first, or is it freeing now?
I mean, yeah, it was a really hard adjustment, but it's really good for me. I feel like to not have my phone on me all the time, constantly checking it. Yeah.
That's great. You can be more focused that way.
Exactly.
Alex, why did you choose to come to WorkCamp?
So this was the first year that I was able to go because I'm a rising sophomore. When I first came and joined my high school youth ministry, I know that my adult leader was talking about it and how big of an event it was. And a lot of my friends were going. Most of our parish went. And I thought that it was something, my older brother went. So I thought it was something that I would enjoy. And I ended up enjoying it a lot. And I don't regret being here.
That's great. That's great to hear. Kira, what work are you specifically doing? And do you get to meet or see the people like whose house you're at, or?
Oh yeah, so we're building a ramp. We do get to meet them, and they just seem very grateful that people were doing this for them, and yeah. That's
great. Addie, I heard Mr. Bohli mention something at Mass today, that there's an event for the people that you serve at the end of the week. What are they invited to?
Honestly, I'm not really sure what the event is because it's my first year.
It's your first?
Yes.
So do you recall, Jaden?
I remember last year, I believe they were invited like in the morning to come to Mass with us.
Right.
And then they would just, because it would be the day we're leaving, so they would just spend the rest of the day with us until we left.
Right.
So they would like eat lunch with us, they would hang out, and we would be able to chat with them, and they would be able to share stories of WorkCamp and the situation they were in before and how we were like able to help them. And it was a really great feeling to see how so many people were affected by like what we did in such a positive way.
Right. And Kevin, maybe ask Kevin Bohli. So how did this originate? What's the purpose?
Yeah, so it's beautiful because on the last day we called our celebration day, and my job is to really thank the residents because it's them opening their doors, allowing us to come do this service, which allows these young people to learn. And if we didn't have residents willing to open up their doors and take the risk that 5 teenagers are going to come help them, then we wouldn't even be able to have WorkCamp. So we're so grateful for them. So that's the whole idea of Celebration Day, is we invite the residents to come here. We profusely thank them for this opportunity, and then we ask the young people to share what the experience was like for them, so that the residents can actually hear how this didn't just affect, they got a nice wheelchair ramp out of it, but how much it affected the young people as well. So it's a beautiful celebration on that last day of WorkCamp.
That's really, what a great way to end. So I guess you would all agree that when you leave here at the end of the week, you have done something good. You've done something holy. You've transformed someone's living condition. You've helped someone. So that must make you feel very good. But would any of you feel comfortable talking about how this experience so far or in the past has transformed you? Like, what impact has it had on you? We know what you're doing for other people, but how is God using the experience to transform your heart or your life?
I know for me, I don't go to daily mass. I usually go every Sunday when I can. So daily mass has been a great change, even though it's waking up early. Daily mass is probably my favorite way to start the day, and is something I look forward to. Just getting up and knowing, oh, well, I'm going to church, and you're just always surrounded by God, and you always feel His presence. So that's definitely changed me, and it's made me realize maybe this is something like I should put more effort into going to mass when I can. So that's been a big change. Yeah.
Perfect way to begin the day, right?
Yeah. I agree.
For me, I think, like, I always see people doing things for others. Like, I see them giving out food, giving money, a lot of charities. And I always think it's really good for them to do that. But I never really, like, I would donate things and try to help as much as I could. But I feel like this week I'm actually doing something that, like, we met the residents, and I feel like maybe they couldn't leave their house before because they didn't have a ramp. And now because they have a ramp, they can, like, enjoy the outside, maybe go see family and stuff. So I think because I'm doing this, like, I'm helping someone, like, change their life. So
That's beautiful. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm
and
doing
you
it.
certainly are, for sure. Kira?
Yeah, I pretty much came into this week very unsure of how it was going to be and what I was going to take out of it. But just in the 4 or 5 days that I've been here already, it's just been a really amazing experience. And I've already felt like I've grown closer to God, grown in my faith. Just like with the daily mass too, like I look forward to going to daily mass every single day. Like I go to sleep being like, oh, I'm so excited to go to mass tomorrow morning.
Oh, that's nice.
It's just really nice.
That is great. And I can't believe how, like, you all sing so well, 7 o'clock in the morning. I was like, wow, they're awake here. Jaden, how about you? How does this change you a little bit?
I think it's just like, it's made me realize how great service is. Cause like I understood the fact that like service and like charity was like good for people and it was like good for your soul, but I wasn't like a huge participant in it myself. And just like the feeling that you know you helped someone else, even if it didn't like bring anything to yourself, it feels really good. And I feel like I'm gonna like go home and maybe participate in more service activities now.
Oh, that's
and
great.
That would help grow closer to God, because like he loves when people do charity and stuff. I know Jesus always gave charity to people in need.
Right.
So
No, that's beautiful. What a great insight. And how about you, Adam?
I just say like the community here of like almost 700 kids, and just doing the way we do everything together, like you can really feel the presence of God just like hanging over everybody, just like between like daily mass and then like worship singing in the evenings.
Right.
And just even like normal things like everyone being together in the cafeteria eating, like you can just feel all the fellowship and like the connection between these people who like a lot of them never even knew each other before this week, and how they just come together as one like Catholic community. It's just really beautiful, and you can really feel how God is present, in this place.
Yeah, you can. I mean, I walked in yesterday afternoon, and you're right. I sensed it from the moment I walked in the door, exactly what you just described. So something's happening. We know that God is at work here, and it's really beautiful to see. So some of your peers may be listening to this podcast and who have not been to WorkCamp. What would you say to encourage them to consider coming next year?
You won't regret it. You'll definitely take something out of it, whether it's to enjoy warm water in the showers or to try to go to daily mass or even go to confession more. You'll definitely learn something and you'll impact others around you. So it's something you should definitely think about. And there's a lot of friends and people that you'll find here. So
That's great. That's a great encouragement.
I also think even if you aren't Catholic or you're not even sure if there is a God, you should definitely go, because even if you won't enjoy Mass or something, you're at least going to be helping a resident, which I think no matter like if you believe in God or not, you're still going to help someone. And I think being here, you're going to meet so many different people. Like I know that I know some people that are kind of on the edge about being Catholic, but being here and being in this community, I think they're definitely growing closer to God and enjoying the experience.
That's great.
I think it's just the fact that there's not a lot of downside to coming to WorkCamp. Like, you can either grow your faith with God, or like even if you're not a Christian or like a Catholic, you can really see insight into another religion, maybe another option that you could go towards. And then also just the fact that any of the downsides that people try to consider, like no phones or something like that, there's always something to do, so you don't really need your phone, and it really just separates you from everyone else when you have your phone. So there's just only upside to coming to WorkCamp and like helping others, and you can learn new skills with tools and stuff. So it's just like a great experience to like, even if you don't like the religious part of it, it's just to learn new skills and meet new people. It's a great experience.
And that is part of the experience. Mr. Bohli was saying earlier that, there are skilled professional contractors here at every site, right? Yeah. Absolutely. So you do learn. Anyone else want to offer a word of encouragement to your peers?
Yeah, I just say this is a takeaway that I had after my first year at WorkCamp is it totally gave me a new perspective on like how like fellowship and like community with like your peers can like impact your faith. I think just like, especially being at home, like it's much more like, especially if you're not part of like a youth ministry, it's much more like solitary or like it's just you and God. But I think like bringing in like your peers, your like fellows who like can like help you grow and you can help each other grow together, it really just enhances like your relationship with God.
That's very good. Excellent. Excellent.
I also want to say, adding on to the tool part, a couple of months ago, if someone would have said, Addie, you're going to be making a deck, you're going to be using electric saws, I would have been so scared. But yesterday we were using the electric saws and the hand saws, and we're building a deck, and I think in a couple of years, this experience, like I'll look back to it and I'll be very proud, because I could barely help my dad, like building IKEA desks and stuff, the ones that come with instructions, and we're here like physically building ramps and decks, and I think that's very cool.
That is amazing. When you look at the end of the week, all the work that has been done and all the people helped, and I noticed, and I think you reflect the other young people who are here, you are all doing it in love and with a spirit of joy. And you're really an inspiration to me, and I'm sure to the people you're serving. So thank you all. Thank you so much. Thanks for being part of this conversation as well. We're very, very proud of you, and wish you the continued blessings today until Friday, right? And a word of thanks, Mary, if I could, as you mentioned earlier in the podcast, to Kevin Bohli and his team. This is an incredible organization that is to pull this off. We'll begin next year's preparation next week.
That's right.
It takes a year, and you think about all the sites that you have to get, the contractors, the setting up a city here, and your team, Kevin, and along with the professionals and the volunteers and staff are here. What a great gift to our diocese and to the church that you would do this for our young people and to do it so well. We're very, very grateful to you.
Well, thank you, Bishop. And yes, it takes a whole army of people to pull this off, and I have a great staff and great support from you and the Chancery. So thank you so much.
Right. And I will, you're always allowed to do at least one commercial when you do a podcast. So I will remind all our listeners that all those who support the Bishop's Lenten Appeal every year help to make this possible. So we thank all you who are listening in some way through your support and generosity and prayers. You are really a part of this WorkCamp too. So thank you for making this possible.
Yes, thank you.
Mary, I do want to also congratulate you and your family. I know that very shortly your brother will be ordained a priest for the Diocese of Providence. What is that date for soon to be Father Joseph?
June 29th.
All right. So pray for Mary's brother. He's going to be one of our newest priests. And wasn't it great also to see, what do we have, Kevin, about 40 priests here last night?
Yeah, over 40 priests came to hear all those confessions. So 1,200 confessions in just a couple hours.
Yeah, and priests and seminarians. So I hope, my young friends, I hope you know when you see so many of our priests here, how much you mean to all of us and how much we want to be part of your lives and help you and support you in every way possible. So Mary, thank you for co-hosting today. Kevin, and all of you, my young friends, thanks so much for being here. And let's promise to pray for each other so that every day of our lives, we will walk humbly with our God. Thank you for listening to the Walk Humbly podcast. Make sure you check out more episodes and all the podcasts our diocese offers on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and our diocesan website, arlingtondiocese.org. You can also follow me on X, formerly Twitter, at Bishop Burbidge, where I provide a short gospel reflection each morning, and on Instagram at Bishop Michael Burbidge. Stay up to date with news, event information, and inspirational content by subscribing to our e-newsletter at arlingtondiocese.org.